that house right there of all places and just take a walk up the street. Imagine me. I would probably get killed somehow. That's pretty dangerous. Hello everybody, welcome to Train Sim World, where we are about to play Sandpatch Grade U876-A Coal Cumberland Shaw Mine. This is actually a 4-part mission here. This happens to be the first part, and what I love about this right now, there's no instructions, I've got no guide, it's just me going all the way to Cumberland all by myself, which means there's more problem and more room for error. Good job me, right? We are at Cumberland Yard. Shaw Mine happens to be this little finger of a track that comes out here. The place that we keep wondering about as we drive by. We've been wondering about this, and so what we get to do is we get to back the train all the way back through this. To look at our train here, we have two HC4400CWs in the front and 0 in the back over here, and I do want to see the back for one reason, because we have brake pipe pressure that is literally 3 psi. That's all there is to it, and I can't push this button to test it. I would love to push the button to test it. Honestly, the best way to set up is not to start in the lead engine, but to start back in the trailing engine. Why is that? Because then you can work your way forward from the trailing engine. Look at that, forward knuckle. I've never seen that one before. I just never paid attention to it, to what's going on here. And also there's a chain right here that I don't know what it's for. So if you guys can tell me what the purpose of the chain is for, I would love to know. I feel like it's for something for towing. So in this trail engine over here, what we want to do is we want to set up this engine to be a trail engine. For now, we're going to set up headlight control to short hood trail, because we're actually on the short hood trail on this side. The light's not actually going to turn on until we uncouple our cars. We're not going to do that anytime soon anyways. We're going to turn on our number light just because we want to have them. And I can tell you right now, everything in here, the only thing we need to worry about is distributed power being off. This engine's just rocking. What the heck, man? And then the only other thing we need to make sure of is when we click an air brake via 1, we just need to make sure it says cutout and trail. Because it says that, we're already set up with this, and then we just need to go down to this little switch on the corner here. We need to turn off engine run. Gen fuel's already off. We need to turn off control and fuel pump, and we need to turn off dynamic brake. And that's because this stuff will be powered by the main engine in our lead engine, and that is just about it. And for this one, we're setting this one up as a lead engine, and because this is our lead engine, we're probably going to want some lights. So we'll turn on our cab lights over here. And all we have to do here is turn on our radio. Where is our radio? Our radio is already on. We don't have anything to worry about there. We're going to turn on distributed power, which is here. And we're going to turn on our number lights there. And we're going to set this up to short hood lead is what we're doing, because we're actually leading by our short hood. We're going to come to the air brake, press 1. And right now it's set for 90 cut out and trail. We want this to be 90 cut in and lead. So we're going to press F3 to set this to cut in, F4 to set this to lead, and very important, F6 to save changes. So as you can see, it updates there, and exit to exit that. And that's all ready to go. And then here we just need to turn on the gen field. Everything else in the row is turned on. We're going to turn on gauge lights. And because it is November of 2018, we're turning on a little bit of low heat, November 2018. You know, what we need to do is set up our automatic handle to release, and that's going to fill up our brake pipe pressure here. And once that is set up to pretty close to 90, we'll be able to finally get going. We're going to set our reverser to forward, and our lights, by the way, front headlight's going to go to bright auxiliary because we're going to be leaving. Back headlight's going to be dim for now, but actually we can leave this off technically. By rule, it's meant to be turned off. And why the heck this thing is rotating so bad is insane. Let's go ahead and set our throttle to notch 1, and we're going to bail off. And with us bailed off, we're going to start moving. And you can already see our train is moving quite easily at notch 1. And what's happening here is it's working to bump up against all of these cars here and just kind of bump up and whatnot. So let's do throttle 2 and blow our horn. And our bell, by the way, is on a separate switch. All right, our train's finally rolling. Wow. It took me to get to notch 4 to get this train rolling out of the yard, actually, because we kind of got hung up on a couple of things. So we're currently on our way to Via location, which basically we just have to cross over. So we don't want to go too much faster than 10 miles an hour. And then we're going to go to the left route, which is the rail line on this side. And eventually we're going to cross over again, and then we're going to go to Cumberland exit single. And then we're going to head to the mainline, Hyman, Fairhope, Mant, and then finally reversing into Shaw Mine, and that is our itinerary. We've already got a train coming towards me anyways, and that's one of the reasons to keep the bell on, because you just never know. This is a very accessible area to the public, anyone could just jump over those fence over there and walk onto the train track. So it really does help to have the bell on, just so people know that you're rolling by. And we've got our friend over there. I'm super curious if there's anyone even in that loco, because I already ran into a game that didn't have anyone. They have 2 people. Why are you guys the lucky ones to get 2 people in your engine? That's so messed up, man. Why am I the only one that's in here? I guess it's finally time for me to shine and be an engineer and just do my job like they want me to. Alright folks, we're pulling out of Cumberland Yard already, and we are, as you can tell, the very back of my train, finally leaving the last of Cumberland Yard. And we're heading basically past Cumberland Station in a few minutes here. And we're going to our left route to kind of start this ball rolling here. And eventually we're going to be going to the crossing. Most of the initial setup here, up into the Cumberland Yard exit single right there, is within like the first mile or 2 of the rail line, and so there's not a whole lot to worry about. And what I have to pay most attention to is not to overspeed here. My goodness, I'm already gonna overspeed. This is so dumb. But it didn't give it to me there. I hit 15 on the dot. Alright folks, we're passing Cumberland Station right there. Unless that single up ahead changes, we may actually have to stop our train. Folks, it looks like the single does not want to turn green on me, so we may just have to slow our train down. I'm naturally using the grade here to do this for me, so that way I don't have to actually waste my brakes or anything like that. And we're passing our second via location, and finally it wants us to decide what to do up ahead, which we're not going to go to the main line anytime soon. There's our green single, so we can finally get our train moving. Alright folks, as you can see, the 25-mile-an-hour zone became 20 miles an hour, so we're still going to be stuck one way or another, not being able to go very fast, at least until we pass a certain distance in our train. So really, realistically, once our back of our train finally passes this sign here, we can finally go a lot faster. And I'm currently hanging out up here on the single platform. I've always wanted to climb this. At some point, I should probably just stop my train and get out to do such a thing. But in the meantime, let's watch our train roll up. My God, that guy! What is wrong with him? He does not know how to drive. Wow, what the heck? A Burlington Northern engine right there. Look at that. That's kind of cool. I think it's because I opened up the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad earlier and I was doing some stuff with it in my other profile, and now it's in this profile, so oh well. Not working in this particular game here. What it's meant to be is a dash cam, so you can actually see on the roadway there what's going on for accidents and stuff, and it prevents liability issues. And they started doing this with the ACs. All the ACs have this. It just doesn't happen to work in Dan Patch Grade, so we can't actually use it. Something the developers wanted to do with this particular engine here is, and not really this particular engine, but the Dan Patch Grade, when they originally developed Dan Patch Grade, one of the things they were looking at is if you stared at the railroad tracks like this, in the game, and it didn't really dawn on me until recently, in-game, the tracks are completely straight. They don't move. But in real world life, as the day progresses, whether it's a hot summer day, cold winter day, the tracks work. What starts to happen here is what you would normally see, it's tracks doing this sort of thing, it's just weaving in and out like this. And what the developers intend to do eventually, and it's not in Dan Patch Grade at least, is get to a point where they can get the tracks to do that really nifty weaving motion. And it's a little bit of a trick to make that happen, because once they feel like they've done that, they've done the job right. And this feeling when you look at the railroad track would be essentially picture perfect, even if the rest of the graphics are not. That's where their aim is. Alright folks, so we're on our way to Fairhope. We're about 2.8 miles away from Fairhope. We're now traveling, unfortunately, at 25 miles an hour, and it kind of sucks that we have to go this slow. So this railroad used to be owned by something called the B&O Railroad. The original construction of this line began of July 4th of 1828. But by 1859, a person named John Brown led a small group to Harper's Ferry and essentially caused an uprising, caused the seizure of the B&O's railroad bridge. And so because there was an east-west rail line, the B&O was an important line. This dividing line that we're riding on right now essentially was the dividing line between north and south here. You had about 143 brave skirmishes and battles that directly involved this rail line, the B&O. And by April 18th of 1861, the Union forces severed the rail line at Harper's Ferry, and Union troops in Harper's Ferry set fire to the Army, Arsenal, and Rifle Factory before eventually ditching town and skipping town. And that same evening, the Virginia State Militia regained control of the area and salvaged whatever was left. By the end of 1861, you had 23 B&O railroad bridges burnt down, 102 miles of telegraph wire been cut down, 36.5 miles of track was torn up and destroyed, 42 locomotives were burned, 14 locomotives were considered captured, and 386 rail cars were either stolen or destroyed, and this resulted in the B&O getting shut down for 10 full months in order to restore the rail line. During the restoration period between 1861 and spring of 1862, the line kept getting raid skirmishes and battle, and the garrison, and eventually resulted in the garrisoning of Union troops along the rail line to prevent any further damage to the line, as well as keeping the line in Union hands. I would love it if Dovetail Games could put that into this game. That'd be so much fun. So folks, if you got your train set up pretty well, you could probably make it up this grade at 1.5% at throttle 4. You can see I don't need to have any wheel slip problems. I'm not needing any sand or anything like that. My train is rolling along pretty decently, given that we have all these empty hopper cars. So we're in a pretty good position here, honestly, to roll this train all the way up to the top of the grade without too many issues, at least. So something the developers wanted to do is they wanted to make sure that this game could have a sense of realism with the physics. So in between, like, the rail car wheels moving, the little dial there moving that's connecting the axle together, the blinky light here, the pressure changes, this little piece here bouncing around and whatnot. Even in the front here, you can even see the same sort of idea where you have like little bits of physics here rolling along with the wheels. You have little bits of physics with the thing bouncing up and down like that. I'm like, what is this for here? This is interesting. I've never seen this before. I might have to put the alerter. This is for probably something. Who knows what it's for. But yeah, so I'm actually really impressed by, this is actually what got me to purchase Stampatch Grade, what got me to purchase the game, because you really do get a sense of realism in this train, because a lot of, not just the environment looks pretty decent, I mean, it's got some low polygon areas and some issues with the graphics and whatever, but for the most part, like, the train itself looks fairly realistic as it's rolling along. You got a lot of the texture is done really well. You've got different things like the bell, when you turn on the bell and how it works and does its thing, and you got like bits and pieces of the motion and the physics. It's just amazing. There goes our train and we're rolling by. So as we head over to Mansion, 8.1 miles, something to keep in mind, during the second half of the Civil War here, the B&O Railroad actually had almost nearly constant raiding from the Confederate forces, and so Union leadership at the time really sucked and was kind of bad, and so the line got stuck, just continuously attacked and socked over and over again. So the B&O was a target for the Confederacy because of the ability to move soldiers from point A to point B. Being an east-west line, you can have the ability to stretch out the entire line there. You don't have to worry about a lot, which is great. So you can move soldiers, supplies, and stuff from Washington, D.C. to places like this spot here where we're going to Salisbury Junction. By 1864, John Garrett, the owner of the B&O Railroad, provided key intelligence to Union Command because their rail line was attacked over and over and over again, and that was kind of a problem for them. So he actually gave information on the army coming towards Washington, D.C. Had he not done that, the Confederacy may have had an opportunity to take on Washington, D.C. And the Battle of Monarchy ended in a Confederate victory. However, the battle was considered by the Union to be the battle that ultimately saved Washington, D.C. due to the information that was shared with the Union at the time. So with the sun setting, folks, this is about the time where we can finally start using the sun visor to block out the sun. Yay, it finally works and does what it's supposed to do. So that 30 was a lie, people. It is really 25, so screw that. Good thing I didn't start speeding up after that little instant of seeing 30. Good for me on that part. And the B&O, as a railroad system, provided the Union Army with supplies and soldiers and resources, essentially, and gave the United States essentially a new industrial age after the Civil War finally came to an end. And honestly, despite the odds, because the Confederacy did a great job with trying to raid the line and keep the line inoperative, the most it achieved was a 10-month shutdown. They couldn't do much more than that, and so the B&O ended up serving the Union quite more effectively than it did the Confederacy. The Confederacy was not able to maintain the rail line for itself. They pretty much couldn't keep up the track line or anything like that. Folks, we're coming up on the little town of Glencoe. Oh my gosh, why am I saying Glencoe? Glencoe. Yeah, so this is a little town of Glencoe here. just hanging out on the side there with a couple really nice roads and a couple of small houses that are parked right next to the rail line. That's got to be horribly loud when you blow the whistle right at that crossing right next to that house. My goodness. These days, though, a lot of cities now in the U.S., basically they do things where they say, hey, you're going to roll the train through town, especially at night, don't blow the horn. Just be a little bit nice about it. Just turn on the bell. Maybe do a quick little hop like that. I hope that didn't mess up my horn. And, you know, just kind of make it work so that way we can sleep at night and we can have a nice day. To be honest, folks, this is a gorgeous view right here. I love seeing this. In the other direction, I've got my loco. It's gorgeous as well. And so we're about to come up to the red light there. And in fact, if I put the thing back on, you can see it's 900 feet away. So as soon as we pass the town, that's about where our light is set. I'm not sure what we have to do. Oh, I know what we have to do. I know what's going on. I just thought about this. We're on this track right here. And what we're going to end up doing, we're going to be switching over to the left track. That's why we have to slow down at that red light up there. That's what the whole point of this is. Yeah, folks, so knowing that I have to stop in 3,000 feet, I just moved myself to throttle 3 just to take a nice slowdown on the rail line here. And we're going to be passing our via location. And the next one after that, getting ready for reverse to Shaw Mine. And that's why we have to stop at the location up ahead there. And then eventually we're going to stop at Shaw Mine itself. And so I'm just going to let my train just slow itself down anyways down to 10 miles an hour, and that's going to help us anyhow with that red light that's up ahead. And the red's actually because of this guy right here that's coming up. So we're going to turn on the bell for this train here and just watch him roll on by. And we may have to stop, we may not have to stop. There's the green light. Okay, we're good. So we can just go ahead and go back up the speed. We're going to head to throttle 5 and just keep us moving along here because there's no point to stop because of this one rail car that's bumping me. What the heck? I ended up in a squish spot there. Yeah, so folks, as we move on to the side track here, this is going to be the track that's going to take us to Shaw Mine once we get to the other end there. It's just going to take us a little time to get there, going 10 miles an hour, unfortunately, because of my rail cars back there. This track here is a 30 mile an hour zone, so I can speed up at some point, and I've got 5 miles of speed to essentially work with, and then at that point I do have to slow down. And I gotta watch my speed here because I'm already going 10 miles an hour again, and I don't want to keep doing that. All right, folks, so we're finally getting the back of the car going through this little turnout here. And that's a good thing because we can finally get some more speed because it's really annoying driving 10 miles an hour for 3,000 feet. It's just so hard to do, you know. So once I pass the switch here, it should jump up to 30 miles an hour or something pretty close to the equivalent. And there it goes. So now we can finally pick up speed and get ours moving for the next 4.8 miles. All right, folks, so we are back in this mission here. Believe it or not, I had to step out. I had an appointment to go to. I almost finished the mission. Look, I'm so close, 4.5 miles away, right? We already set up the dynamic brake, so we're going to turn this on so it hopefully slows me down. And I feel like, there it goes, it's turning on. I was like, wait a minute, it's not working. And I'm just about to go over speed. So the dynamic brake is what's going to get me to stop in the next 4.4 miles. Yeah, so fortunately for me, folks, the road to Salisbury Junction / Myersdale / the place where we need to eventually back up and park towards Shaw Mines, it's actually pretty easy to work with just dynamic brakes. So I'm heading down a hillside of literally 1.0% grade, which isn't too bad, 0.9% grade, which also isn't too bad. And so what I want to do is just work off my dynamic brakes, and I think by having turned off the dynamic brake in the second trailing engine, I think it's made my dynamic brake a lot better. I'm going to find out how well this works over the course of the 4 missions here, and I'm really hoping that my dynamic brake work even better than I'm hoping for. And I'm like, maybe I should keep it on 1 because it feels like 1's a good number to keep. But I feel like having turned it off, I'm not using as much oh my god, I can't speak. Alright folks, so welcome to Myersdale. We're just zooming through the town ever so slowly, and I need to turn my handle off, my goodness. There it goes. That should hopefully speed me up just a little bit. I was going way too slow at dynamic brake 1, and that sounds like bad news right there. What is that? That's an excavator, isn't it? Look at that guy right there. So I'm very happy right now with myself. Oh, geez. Oh my god, I'm totally unprepared for this. Totally unprepared. That was a bad whistle. Our stop's coming up pretty soon, so all we need to do is just work our dynamic brake and just kind of keep adding progressively dynamic brake here and there. Once we get to 5,000 feet, we just add a little bit more. And in fact, we probably don't have to do a whole lot because 31, it's going to slow down pretty quick. And so I could probably just keep it, you know, between 2 and 3 at least until, oh wow, it's coming up pretty quick with that yellow light. But yeah, I could probably keep it between 2 and 3 here. and just work until I at least get 3,000 feet, and then kind of slow it down a little bit more and just keep that pace going from here to there. Also, what I'm doing is I'm letting the cars also pull me down and slow me up, and that will get my train to slow down because the cars are actually pulling me backwards. It may not look like that, but it really is. And I'm just going to put minimum reduction. Why won't you turn on minimum reduction? There it goes. I'm going to put some minimum reduction to really slow me down a little bit more, just because I just barely passed the little marker point because I'm looking at this backwards. But that was actually perfect for what they were looking for. And we're going to put on our automatic brake to full service for a moment. Independent brake for full service as well. And now we'll make instead stop at location Shaw Mine, which is literally all the way at the other end of the mine there. That means what we got to do is put our reverser into reverse. Why won't you go into reverse? What's going on? Oh, hello. Dynamic brake is on. I should probably turn that off so I can actually go put this thing in reverse. We're going to start out by reversing and then sort of figure out the details after that. So in order to reverse successfully, what we probably should do is release the independent and automatic brakes first. We're actually going to be rolling forward, so what we want to do is probably put throttle 2 to make sure we got some, power to push us backwards here, and then release our independent brake, and with that, that should be enough to keep this train from rolling the rest of the way down the hill forward here, and we should... There it goes. We're starting to move a little bit backward there, but I think it's probably going to bump us forward in a second. So I might be able to get away with this in throttle 2, but I think it might be just behoove me to go throttle 3. Let's proceed to single indicate. Yep, throttle 2 is doing it. Look at this. My train's already moving and just throttle 2. I don't have to touch anything else. This is more than enough for me to get rolling. Right now it says I'm supposed to go 35. You all know that's a complete lie. We're probably going to go whatever the speed limit is there. It says 15. So folks, way back here, you're never going to hear the bell. You might hear the horn. The horn you might hear. Otherwise, you're never going to hear the bell. And this train's going to go about 10 miles an hour, and it's going to, with the slow speed control, the advantage of that is should keep us to 10 miles an hour. Even though the track says 15 miles an hour, I'm not going to actually risk the 15 for now. I kind of want to roll into it. What I do have to worry about, though, is 3.1 miles from here. We're going to eventually hit Shaw Mine, and I'm probably going to have to turn that slow speed control back off just to play it safe. But once we hit this, we're going 15, and that's the bottom line. So let's see how this goes here for me. You'll see what makes this really dangerous. So if I was a car hanging out right here, there is no gates on this crossing or anything like that. I can't actually hear the bell. There's no person at the other end of my train to tell me that I'm here. So imagine if I was just going to walk right over this railroad track right here from that house right there of all places and just take a walk up the street. Imagine me. I would probably get killed somehow. That's pretty dangerous. But knowing that it's here, at least I can blow the horn. By the way, also with speed control, you can see it's already turning on the dynamic brake for me, which is really nice, and that's awesome. And it's doing that just to keep me going at the same speed that I was going at before. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just tag along with the back engine there, and we're just going to kind of roll up with it. Oh, strangely enough, this road that goes to that house and everything, it just goes on a loop. And the rest of it apparently is closed, so they can't even get through. They just have no way to get out of here. They're just trapped. The only way out is by rail or walking around this and hopefully putting a car on the other side and then driving out. So they're making you stuck here. Something happened. All right, folks, I don't know whose bright idea was it to put a train crossing right here with a house here, whatever this house is. I assume that's actually a person's house. But who put that bright idea to put this guy and all of these houses here right next to a coal plant? How many of these people here that live right here, that looks like a garage of all things, are all going to get black lung disease just because this is like right next to the coal plant? Whose bright idea was this to go live right next to a coal plant? Of course, at the time, they would have never known that, and they would have never realized that. Keep that in mind. But yikes, that doesn't sound very safe at all for these people right next to the river. And in fact, I bet you some of the coal particles have gotten into the actual river itself. Our stop's coming up like ultra fast here, so we're going to have to slow this train down quite a bit here. I forgot the size of my train already. So we're going to do minimum reduction just to get this under 10. And we're just going to probably do this minimum reduction one more time unless it naturally stops if I'm really lucky with the dynamics here. Oh, I think I'm going to be extremely lucky. I'm going to turn that off for a second. Yeah, this is perfect. This is perfect. I'm rolling right up to it right now. This is perfect. I'm going to have a couple bumps, and then I'm going to just do the minimum reduction and just kind of stop my train from here. And this is perfect. We got our train stopped. Excellent. Our train done. We did it. So co-loading a Shaw mine, 10,000 AP. Did we get the gold medal? Where's my gold medal, people? And folks, with that, I got the gold medal apparently, and I think what's happened is when I saved my game after I got past 8,000 AP points, my game must have said, oh, you got the gold medal, so we don't have to show you the gold medal at the end screen, so that's what ended up happening, and so bugged my game because I saved it and walked away to do my appointment. That's so messed up. But there's proof I got the gold medal, so as usual, like, subscribe, and leave me a comment, and we will catch you for co-loading! How exciting for a U876-B in the next one. Bye, folks. I'm working my dynamic brakes to try to get this train to slow down early enough. I'm at 1780 AP points now. I want to try to at least be under 20 for that under 20 zone there. And I'm still really worried I'm not going to get the full 1,000 AP points that I need still. I feel like I'm going to have to drive backwards to the switch and do the same thing again like I did with the first half. And if that's the case, then that's what I've got to do, and this is just how it's going to work, and it's the only way to make it work, then it's the only way to make it work.